Hi, I'm music teacher John, and I wanted to do some videos hopefully that would kind of give an indication of sort of how I teach. So without going too much further, I want to talk about maybe one of the first things that I try to teach my students, and that is I try to teach them about chords. Now, I'm a little hesitant to teach students about chords, not because they're too difficult or they're too hard, but because um, chords, once a student gets used to playing chords and doing music in that way, they typically don't want to go back to playing music any other way. Because if you know how to play chords, you can very quickly look like you've been playing for years, when in fact they're really not that hard to figure out. They're not that hard to play. They make you look like maybe a more amazing musician than your training might signify. So the first thing I want to talk about is what in the world is a chord. A chord is basically just a combination of notes that sound really good together. So maybe something like this. Right? I'm playing 3 notes right now, and they just sound pleasant. Right? Here's a few more. Or if you want to go a little bit more dark. Okay, so those are chords. They're just kind of like a combination of notes that are really kind of pleasant and nice to hear. Chords are important in music. Composers who write music, if they kind of know their theory and know their stuff, they're not just thinking in terms of like, oh, this sounds nice. You know, they're thinking in terms of, okay, I'm going from this chord to this chord to this one. You know, they're thinking of kind of the bigger picture. So anyway, that's all side stuff. How do you play chords? That's what I'm going to talk about now. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Let's see what I can do here. So here's our piano. So probably the easiest way to play a chord is kind of like this. If you've got a piano with you, or if you're at a piano, take your hand and put your fingers kind of one right next to the other on kind of 5 white keys, like this. And what I want you to do now, take your one finger, your thumb's your one finger, push that down. And now kind of skip this one and push this one down. And now skip this one and push this one down. That's a chord. And what's cool is you can kind of take that over anywhere and sort of do it in different places. So I'm going to take my thumb, I'm going to move it up here. There's another 5 keys. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 3, 5 there. There you go. There's another chord, right? And this, I would recommend you would just go around the piano and kind of do this in different places. You know, they're all really very pleasant. If you want to get a little wild, you know, throw a black key in the middle. You can do all sorts of things like that. But that's basically a chord. Again, chords are used in music in all sorts of ways. Mozart really liked doing this with chords. Like, let's say you took this one, you go, it's called Alberti bass right there. Beethoven had a song called Für Elise that goes, you know, that's the part of Für Elise that everybody knows, but there's a certain part of Für Elise where he takes this chord and he kind of outlines it. Right, he's just kind of taking chords and kind of playing around with them. So chords are pretty cool. Now we call chords by a few different names. Kind of a rough sort of explanation of one thing would be that a chord that sounds really kind of like happy, or a lot of times even a song that sounds really kind of happy, is usually what we call a major chord. So this would be an example of a major chord. Here's another one. Here's another one. Okay. Now those are major chords. Another example, usually chords that are kind of sound a little bit more dark, we call them minor chords. So kind of like this. you can really hear the difference between all of them when you hear them kind of side by side. Some songs are kind of hard to hear the difference, but again, major chords are kind of more happy. Minor chords are kind of more sad sounding or depressing or scary, however you want to describe it. Those are minor chords. So now there are variations on that. There's the diminished chord, there's the augmented chord. We won't get into those. Those are like 5% of chords that are played in music. The other 95% are either major or minor. But what do we call these? It's important to know what these chords are called because what you can do is you can look at a piece of music, and if it has chords on it, it'll say like something that's major or minor. You can kind of read it a little bit. So let's talk about what we kind of call these chords. So bring you back to the keyboard here. All right, so all these white keys on the piano are named after different letters of the alphabet. Thankfully, the musical alphabet does not go to Z. It just goes to G, and then it starts over again. So, for example, this is A, this is B, this is C, D, E, F, G. And then we start over with A. Okay, so let me run through that one more time. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we're back to A again. We start over. And if I wanted to keep on going, I'd go B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and kind of onward and upward. So why is that important? Well, we kind of name chords after these letters. So for example, this is an A, right? If I put my hand here and I go, that's an A chord. So that's an A chord. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it kind of sounds sort of kind of scary or sort of sad, right? It's a minor chord. That, if you remember, we said that a minor chord kind of typically sounded a little bit more depressing, a little maybe scary or whatever. So this is an A minor chord, right? I could kind of maybe take this up a bit, maybe A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's try this one. So I'll put my finger here, put my fingers kind of all up above, F, G, all this stuff. And then I push down this note, and this note. That's called an F major chord. You can kind of hear the major sound in there, kind of more happy. If you don't hear it, listen to this right here. That's an F minor chord, and that's an F major chord, right? So I got my F on the bottom here, I go skip, skip, and there's my chord, F major. A lot of times in songs, what you'll see is, a lot of times in, oh, I miss you too. A lot of times in songs, what you'll see is that maybe like a list of words, so the lyrics of a song, for example, let's take the song maybe like Whatever It Takes by Imagine Dragons, right? Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my brain. I do whatever it takes, right? So I'm playing 4 chords right now, right? And now if you went to certain websites, you could find songs where the chords are actually going to be written there. And so, they'll have the words like whatever it takes, I love the adrenaline. And right above the word whatever, they'll have like maybe, for example, an F. What that indicates is an F major chord. Thanks. What it indicates is an F major chord. And so, what I would be playing, if I saw that word, that line, right, whatever it takes, and I see an F above it, I play F major. Whatever it takes, and then it'll probably have maybe like say a C after that would indicate a C major chord. And so I'd go to that one, I'd play a C major chord. you know, 'cause I love thee, you know, and then maybe above the word adrenaline, they'll have a G major. So I'll play that one, right? And then I go to, next one might be A minor. Let me show you this on the piano. So if you remember at least a little bit of kind of where these were, probably do another video just on letter notes. This was an A, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, right? And so I'll get my fingers all next to each other, whatever it takes, and then I'll go down to C, if we can go backwards here. F, E, D, C. 'Cause I love thee. Let's go to a G major. C, D, E, F, G. Adrenaline in my, go up to an A minor. Brain, right? And so there's my 4 chords. Let me try that again for you. Whatever it takes, F major, down to a C major. 'Cause I love thee, how it, you know, then G major. Feels when I break the chains, A minor, right there, okay? So, and in that way, you know, you've got this simple sort of, you know, song going. Now, if I play the chords just by themselves, you're not thinking of the song, whatever it takes, right? You gotta kind of use your imagination, maybe sing with it, right? And then it all kind of sort of flows together. Whatever it takes, F chord, C, 'cause I love how it, G, feels when I break the chains, right? And so you kind of, you bring all those in, and you can create a song. The wonderful and kind of funny thing about pop songs, most of them, you know, they sound very complicated. They sound like, oh my goodness, there's a drum, and then there's a guitar, and there's a bass, and there's a, you know, there are all these crazy things going on. But when you boil down a lot of pop songs to just kind of their bare chords, like I was showing you there, you notice that was just 4 chords over and over and over again, and that's pretty much that whole song, and that's a lot of songs on the radio. It's like 3, 4, maybe 5 chords that are just put on rotation, oftentimes just in order. I can think of like 3 One Republic songs that are just 4 chords done over and over again. And again, they sound really cool, and I love them myself, because there are all these other instruments coming in, and it's usually a great singer and everything. But if you want to play them at home, they're really not that hard. So, so anyway, that's what you can do. That if you want to kind of open a whole world to you of music, is just kind of start out by playing chords. And maybe next video I'll try and kind of expand on that a little bit more. It's a lot of fun once you get used to it, and you can get really creative and have a lot of fun with it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back another time.